Hi, my name is Howard Littlejohn, and I want to tell you about a 3-year journey in life that I took. But the main thing is how God kept me. Because if it hadn't been for God on my side, I would not be here today. 3 years ago, I started out with 2 legs. Then I got a fungus under my toenail on my left foot. That fungus was not treated properly, and it turned into gangrene. I was in the hospital and spent 7 days in the hospital with gangrene in my body, them telling me every day, "You have gangrene." I didn't believe them, but on the 7th day I said, "Do I really have gangrene?" "Yes, you have gangrene in your foot." On the 8th day, the doctor came in, and I will not say I was really nice because I wasn't. I lit into the doctor. "You let me sit here for 8 days with gangrene. I came in to get a simple bypass so I could get enough blood flow to heal this toe, and you never addressed it." Panic set in the hospital then, and I went through a great series of horrendous medications where I didn't know if I was up, down, sideways, or anything. I was in that hospital for 20 days. When I left the hospital, my big toe was gone. I had to go to a skilled nursing center for rehab, learning how to walk again, but COVID got us. So I didn't get much rehab. And plus my toe was healing, so I couldn't do a whole lot. I did learn a little bit, but as I progressed, they sent me to wound care. That was the biggest mistake of my life, going into wound care, because the toe had healed all the way after 3 or 4 sessions of wound care. And I said, well, that looks good. The flesh was pink, and the color was starting to come back. Then the doctor at wound care said, "You have a hole." I said, "Where's the hole at?" "You have a 2-centimeter hole in your toe where they took it off." I said, "You can't even see a 2-centimeter hole. What is that to concern about?" "Well, we have to know that it healed right." And when I woke up from them deadening my foot, they had cut all of the good flesh out, cut it all the way to the bone, and scraped the bone until my bone was bleeding. I took a picture of it, but I won't show you that picture. You could look through and see the bone in my foot. From there, it just went downhill because there was no skin to heal it. So they put my foot in a cast to keep it immobile, and I was not allowed to walk on it, put any pressure on it. They cast the foot wrong, and I told them the cast was wrong, and I came back 2 days earlier than they took the cast off. By that time, the next 2 toes on my foot had died because of lack of blood flow. The toes died. It progressed from there to my foot started dying slowly. I went to the vein specialist and he said, "We're going to have to take your foot off." My question to him was, "Will it heal?" "No, it will not heal if we take it off." "Well, if you cut below my knee, will that heal?" "No, it won't heal." I said, "Where can you cut me and it will heal?" He pointed about 8.5 inches above my knee. "This is the only place where the vein is strong enough to pump blood to heal it." And I said, "Well, we'll do 1 cut. I'm not going to be whacked on like I've seen other people whacked on, take a leg off, take a toe off, keep whacking on you." I wasn't going to go through that. They removed my leg December 5th, 2019. It was very, very painful. I spent many nights in agony, unable to sleep, sweating because the poison was still in my body. They had not really addressed the poison, and I was dying. Couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, couldn't do anything. Going to the doctor, going to the hospital. They didn't know. Home health care came in to help me. Home health care said, you've got to get some better help because we can't do anything for you. I went to my primary care physician, and God used her to save my life at that time. She said, you've got to get a drug. She told me the name of the drug. I had no idea what the name of that drug was, but I got it to the right people. Then the CDC, Center for Disease Control, had to get involved. They wanted home health to administer it to me, but my copay was $300 per dose. I had to have 4 doses a week. I fought them on that, and I got to where I went to Medical City, Dallas. They have on the 2nd floor of Building A place where you can go and they infuse you with transfusions and anything you need. I spent 1 year in and out of that hospital getting transfusions, getting stuff put in my body, didn't know what it was. Finally, after a year, I healed enough that I got a prosthetic leg for my left leg. I eventually learned to walk with aid on the left leg, and I was able to take my wheelchair, put it in the car, in the back seat, then get in the front seat and drive a car because I had my right leg. I put too much pressure on my right leg and the poison was still in my body. I had to have major vein surgery then. They took the main vein in your leg that's in the front, they took that out from my groin all the way down to my foot. They cut that vein out and then they put in the artery that's on the back side of my leg. I had 132 huge staples in me that after 3 weeks had to come out. That was, again, so painful I couldn't believe it. I thought I had it made, but they said the artery can't handle the pressure of the vein, and within 6 months, it blew out. I had no blood flowing to that leg at all. I lost the toe right next to the big toe. They had to take it off. Then, as the foot was healing, I was again back in the dreaded wound care. I don't know what they did, but after 4 times going there, I came back and I had to have home health dress it. Home health came out. When they took the dressing off my foot, I looked at it and I said, what is all that white stuff on my toes? My body was full of maggots. He said, I can't touch you. I said, well, what do I do? He said, you've got to get to the hospital now. I asked him, can you take me to the hospital? No, I can't do anything. He couldn't even wrap it back up. I had to wrap my foot up, and by the grace of God, one of the church members was there, and they took me to the hospital emergency room. Since I knew I couldn't get in the emergency room, I called my primary care physician first. Told her what was going on. She said, go there. And by the time you get there, they'll take you. Again, we're still in the COVID protocols, so you didn't get out of your car until they told you. 2 cars ahead of me, they came up to my car and they said, what's your name? I told them my name. They dropped everything. They said, we're bringing a gurney. We got to get you out and get you in and see what's going on. They brought me out. I was in emergency room for almost 9 hours. They had to with the specialist, put a PICC tube in my arm so that they could put blood and everything in me. They finally took me up on the floor. They cleaned what they thought was all the maggots out. When I got on the floor, they said, we have to look at it. And I told her, well, they just did that an hour ago. She took the bandages off. I almost fainted seeing all those worms running around. She said, if those are the ones running around, the bigger ones are inside you. From there, I stayed in the hospital 20 days, and they said, you've got to get the leg taken off. But they sent me home first. Then I came back to the hospital a few days later. You're going to have the surgery in 3 days. We have to run all these tests. They did all the tests. I was on my way to surgery, got halfway there. They turned me around and said, we can't do it because one level of some test is off. They took me back. I called the doctor that was to do the surgery in, and we battled because I told him, if you do not do this surgery today, I won't be here tomorrow. I will be dead. I'm dying. My blood is poisoned. I fought with him. I fought with the hospital. I fought with a bunch of people. The Lord won the battle. At 7:30 that night, they took me to operate and remove this leg. They couldn't find a nurse, so another doctor said, I'll go up with him and I'll be the charge nurse. When she stuck that needle in that pig tube in my arm and drew the blood out, the blood was totally black. It was not red, it was black. I looked at that and I thought, something's wrong. She got enough and she said, send this down. I don't care what the results are. We have about 15 minutes to get this man into surgery, get blood going into him, or he will be dead. They rushed me into surgery. I didn't remember anything until the next day. The doctor came in about 3 o'clock. They took my leg off. And he said, you were right. If we hadn't operated on you that night, you would have died a very, very horrible death. Very painful, in agony and screaming. And there would have been nothing no one could do to stop the pain or anything. He said the leg was so bad we had to send it to a special place. When they cut it open, they said they had never seen maggots that big in a person's leg. They were literally eating their way up your leg. You were dying at a very fast rate. Since then, I have made a lot of progress. God has been good. My body is healed. Both legs are strong. I now have progressed from mechanical knees to computerized knees. So you'll see a picture of my entire journey. When I could stand on real legs, then when I sat in the chair with no legs, then when I got computerized knees. I won't show you the mechanical ones. But this is the journey that I took. And by God's grace, I'm alive to tell it today. Because I knew I was a dying man. But I wasn't ready to go home, and God wasn't ready to take me yet. So I'm still here. And if anyone tries to tell me God is not real, sit down and we'll talk. And you'll know there is a God. And this is my story.